Have you ever felt the sudden, overwhelming urge to simply disappear on the 24th of December and only resurface once the decorations are packed away and the world has returned to its normal, quiet rhythm? If you're feeling a heavy weight in your chest as the lights begin to twinkle this year, if you feel a pressure that has nothing to do with joy and everything to do with performance, then stay with me for the next few minutes because you are far from alone. In fact, in this year of 2025, a silent movement is growing, a movement of people, many of them devoted Christians, who are quietly wishing they could just skip Christmas altogether. This isn't about being a Scrooge. It's about a soul-deep exhaustion, with a system that has hijacked a sacred moment and turned it into a high-stakes endurance test of credit limits and social media perfection. The disconnection we feel today is not accidental. It is the result of decades of slow erosion, where the sacred has been systematically replaced by the secular, and the spiritual has been buried under the material. For many, Christmas has transitioned from a holy day of remembrance into a frantic season of obligation. We are disconnected from the very faith that should be the foundation of this period. We talk about Jesus, we sing the carols, but our hearts are often miles away, tethered to the logistics of a party or the anxiety of a budget. This spiritual vacuum is what makes the season feel so hollow. When the core meaning, the miracle of the incarnation, is pushed to the sidelines, all that remains is the noise, the lights, and the debt. Close your eyes for a moment and think about the atmosphere of December 2025. For many, it doesn't feel like a stable, peaceful time. The world is fast, the economy is erratic, and the digital noise is louder than it has ever been. We are living in an era where the Instagrammable life has become a mandatory tax on our happiness. We see the perfectly curated tables, the impeccable trees with color-coordinated ornaments, and the designer outfits that seem to scream prosperity. But behind the screen, the reality is often one of quiet desperation. Many families this year are struggling. The cost of living has soared, debts have accumulated, and the thought of adding a mountain of presents to an already maxed-out credit card is causing more nightmares than holiday dreams. Yet the system, this extreme version of global capitalism, whispers in our ears that if we don't buy, we don't love. It tells us that our devotion to our families is measured by the price tag on the box under the tree. This is the great lie of our modern age, and it is precisely why so many people want to hide. They want to hide because they cannot afford the entrance fee to the perfect Christmas, and the shame of that is more than they can bear. Think about the physical toll we take upon ourselves in the name of tradition. Why do we feel this inexplicable obligation to spend 12 straight hours in a sweltering kitchen, preparing a feast for 15 or 20 people, only to collapse in a chair from pure exhaustion when the meal is finally served? We peel, we chop, we roast, and we scrub, driven by a ghost of expectation that says a good Christmas requires a mountain of food that half the guests won't even remember the next day. We stand on our feet until our backs ache and our tempers grow short, losing the very patience and kindness that Christmas is supposed to foster. By the time we sit down to eat, we are too tired to taste the food and too drained to engage in a meaningful conversation. We have sacrificed our peace on the altar of a dinner plate. Is it worth it? Is the perfect turkey worth the hollow eyes and the silent resentment of a host who just wants it all to be over? The exhaustion is not just physical, it is emotional and spiritual. We are running on empty, trying to fill everyone else's plates, while our own souls are starving for a moment of quiet. And then there is the madness of the streets. Think about that frantic, last-minute rush through crowded malls and congested traffic. We fight for parking spots, we wait in endless lines, and we sweat under heavy coats, all to buy items for people who likely already have more than they need. We tell ourselves it's for the kids, or it's to show appreciation, but deep down we know we are just feeding a machine. We are buying things with money we don't have to impress people we might not even like that much, or to satisfy a social contract that feels more like a prison sentence. The stress of that last-minute shopping spree, the noise, the aggression, the sheer desperation of the crowds is the polar opposite of the Prince of Peace we claim to celebrate. People are tired. They are exhausted by the noise, the clutter, and the constant demand to do more and have more. This unbridled consumerism has created a wall between us and our peace of mind. We have been conditioned to believe that abundance is found in the number of bags we carry home. But true abundance is found in the stillness of a heart that is content. Many people today are searching for nothing more than peace of spirit. They want a break from the shouting of advertisements and the judging eyes of society. What was meant to be a joyful family reunion has, for many, turned into a heavy burden, a source of genuine suffering. The joy is forced, the smiles are practiced, and the weight of keeping up appearances is crushing the life out of our celebrations. We have reached a breaking point where the holiday has lost its compass. It has become a period of transaction rather than transformation. We have confused family gatherings with family union, and those two things are worlds apart. You can sit at a table with 20 people, surrounded by luxury and expensive catering, and feel more isolated than if you were standing alone in a desert. True union doesn't require a 5-course meal or a new wardrobe. It requires presence. It requires a heart that is settled and eyes that actually see the person sitting across the table. But how can we be present when our minds are racing with the math of our bank accounts? How can we feel the peace of Christ when we are drowning in the anxiety of social expectations? Let's talk about the pressure to be perfect. Why do we feel that we must buy a new dress or a new suit every single year? Why is there a stigma attached to wearing that same outfit you wore 2 years ago, the one that makes you feel comfortable and like yourself? There is a profound dignity and simplicity that we have completely discarded. We have traded the manger for the shopping mall. Think about that for a second. The very origin of this day, the birth of Jesus, took place in the most humble, unadorned and uninstagrammable setting imaginable. There were no silk ribbons, no professional lighting and no luxury brands. There was just a mother, a father, a baby and a promise. If the King of Kings didn't need ostentation to change the world, why do we feel we need it to celebrate him? The disconnection from faith is the most painful part of this modern Christmas. We have forgotten how to pray. We have forgotten how to wait in expectation for the light. We have replaced the sanctuary with the showroom. But the soul cannot be satisfied by plastic and electronics. The soul seeks harmony, it seeks connection, and it seeks the presence of the divine. When we ignore these needs in favor of a perfect social media post, we are committing a slow suicide of the spirit. We are choosing a hollow shell over a living truth. The year 2025 should be the year we reclaim our right to be still. It should be the year we say enough to the debt and no to the performative joy that leaves us empty. It is perfectly okay to have a small Christmas. A Christmas for just your immediate family, where the menu is simple and the focus is on the people, not the presentation. It is perfectly okay to wear that old sweater. It is perfectly okay to serve a simple meal that doesn't require weeks of savings or days of labor. It is more than okay to forego the expensive gifts in favor of a heartfelt letter or a quiet walk together. We need to rescue the prayer at the center of the night. We need to find our way back to the harmony that comes from shared silence and shared faith, rather than shared consumerism. Imagine a Christmas where you don't wake up on December 26th with a spending hangover or a body that feels like it's been through a war zone. Imagine a holiday where your primary memory isn't the stress of the traffic or the fear of a declined card, but the sound of a loved one's laugh or the warmth of a sincere prayer. That is the Christmas that actually feeds the soul. The pressure we feel is a social construct, a ghost created by marketing departments to keep us running on a treadmill that has no end. But you can choose to step off. You can choose to prioritize your mental health, your financial stability, and your spiritual clarity over the demands of a system that doesn't actually care about your happiness. We are tired. We are exhausted by the expectation to be happy on cue. We are weary of the financial strain that lasts until March. We are sick of the competitive decorating and the superficial small talk. We want something real. We want something that lasts longer than the wrapping paper on the floor. We want peace. We want the peace that passes all understanding, not the peace that comes from a successfully hosted party. The desire to skip Christmas is really a desire to skip the noise. It's a cry for help from a spirit that is longing for the sacred. So, if you are feeling that pressure today, give yourself permission to breathe. Give yourself permission to be simple. Focus on the few people who truly matter to you. Let the table be messy if it means the conversation is real. Let the gifts be small if it means your peace is large. We are here to celebrate a birth that brought light to the darkness, not to create a darkness of debt and envy in our own lives. Why push yourself to the point of breaking for a celebration that is supposed to be about healing? Why drown in the logistics of a party when you could be basking in the beauty of a miracle? Let us return to the basics. Let us find the courage to be boring by the world's standards so that we can be rich by God's standards. Let's stop drowning in purchases and start floating in grace. Stop running, stop spending, and start listening. The voice of the Savior isn't in the roar of the mall or the clatter of the kitchen. It's in the quiet whisper of a heart at rest. May we find happiness this year, not in what we can buy, but in who we can love and how we can serve. Just that. No more, no less. Because at the end of the day, when the lights are turned off and the year 2025 draws to a close, the only thing that will remain is the love we shared and the peace we kept in our hearts. Let's make this a Christmas of true presence, where the only thing we exhaust is our capacity for kindness, not our bank accounts or our bodies. It is time to come out of hiding and step into the light, the real light that no store-bought bulb can ever replicate. We must understand that a smaller gathering is not a failure. It is an act of reclamation. It is taking back our time, our energy, and our sanity. It is saying that the people sitting around our table are more important than the number of dishes on it. It is acknowledging that we are humans in need of rest, not machines in need of programming. As we look toward the evening of the 24th, let us make a pact with ourselves. Let us decide that we will not be defined by our consumption. We will not be bullied by the expectations of strangers on the internet or the archaic rules of hosting that leave us broken and bitter. We will celebrate the miracle of life and the beauty of the Savior's message with the humility it deserves. If that means a quiet night with a simple prayer, a modest meal and an old coat, then let it be the most beautiful night of your year. You don't need to hide anymore. You just need to change what you're looking for. Embrace the small, the quiet, and the real. That is where Jesus is waiting. Many are suffering in silence, feeling like they have failed because they can't provide the ideal holiday. If that is you, please hear this. You have not failed. You are simply seeing through the illusion. You are recognizing that the burden you are carrying was never meant for you to bear. The weight of Christmas was meant to be carried by the one who was born to save us, not by your credit card or your cooking skills. Release the suffering. Release the weight. Choose peace over performance. Choose faith over fashion. Choose love over everything else. Let this be the year you truly experience Christmas, perhaps for the very first time, in the quiet, humble corners of your own home and your own heart. If you love this story and want to hear more like it, please hit that subscribe button. It truly means the world to us and helps us grow. And hey, while you're at it, let's aim for 50 likes on this video. Help us smash that goal.